Hey everyone, DFA here, welcome back to the channel, second part of my Hybrids American Battleships guide, and this time we're taking a look at the first world record gameplay for the Delaware, and I will be talking about planes management, and we're going to start right away, so let's bring the stats sheet to see what we are talking about with Delaware. And there we have it next to the other Tier 9 American battleships, quite a lot of them. Immediately notice the main difference between Delaware and the Nebraska and the other American ships. You get fighters and dive bombers at the tier. Wow. Pretty interesting. The survivability, it's actually pretty poor. It's a little bit worse than the Iowa, but significantly below the other American battleships. So you have to be careful what you do with that ship, how you position yourself. Luckily your mobility is actually excellent. The top speed is really nice at 32, and the traverse and the rest of the stats are actually quite nice, so that's good news. Main guns, you get 8 instead of the 6 of the Nebraska. This time you get 8 406mm guns, and they hit like a truck. They can actually also hit their target. The accuracy has been buffed and it's now on par with the other American battleships at the tier, but keep in mind you're only having 8 of them versus the Iowa's 9 and the Minnesota's 12. So yeah, DPM wise, 14,000, it's not really good, but still it's not actually that far from the other American battleships, especially if you consider what's coming, because the secondaries, they're very American, nothing to see here, no auto secondaries. But yeah, we actually get 2 squadrons of 3 dive bombers. That's 6 per wave with a pretty decent fire chance, so you can reasonably expect to be setting 1 and 2 fires per airstrike. But unfortunately you only have 15 of them, so that's actually 2 strikes and a half if you are not careful with them, and we'll watch how we can take care of that in that guide. You also get a fighter squadron, which is absolutely amazing for spotting. Only 6 planes in the hangar, 1 squadron of 3, so you can afford to lose 2 of them, and in terms of damage and HP they would actually be pretty average at tier 6. And they are at tier 9, so they're not going to help you much against an enemy CV. And finally, the AA, it's best in class as an American ship. CVs will be leaving you alone. So yeah, what do we do now that we have 3 squadrons? Well, we use the fighter squadron right away to spot. So I'm setting course, I'm going to the center of the map, just like you do with any American battleship, but I actually want to scout with my fighter squadron, and I'm monitoring it. Essentially, I'm not in range of engaging, so I have to make sure that I call them back immediately because they get deleted very quickly. And yeah, I'm going to send them across the screen because we haven't spotted the enemy DD yet, and that is kind of what I am looking for, and sure enough, there it is. And you see me changing course to engage that Puerto Rico, but unfortunately I do not monitor my fighters. Yeah, they get deleted very quickly, so you really have to be careful with those plays, but that's okay. Now we're going to engage the Puerto Rico, check if he is changing course. You always go back to plane mode after shooting a salvo to see how many hits you got, where they landed, and if your target is actually changing course. Now this is interesting because the Puerto Rico just got torpedoes dumped at him, so we're going to watch out if he actually gets flooded, because that will be the trigger for sending our dive bomber squadrons. You absolutely have to make the... there you go, flooded, damage gone, hits an island, easy. Yeah, I actually make a mistake there because I should not be using my guns on such an easy target. I should preserve that for my dive bombers, and I'm going to send them right away. You notice that I'm actually sending my fighters first because I want them to tank the AA of the Puerto Rico. I want my dive bombers to reach their targets, drop their bombs, and set that thing on fire. And a good technique that you can do to preserve your dive bombers, when you don't have an enemy CV, there you see my fighters getting deleted, my dive bombers make it to the target, 5 hits, 3 fires, bye-bye Puerto Rico. So that's something that you can actually do to preserve your precious dive bombers, because it's pretty safe to say that at least one squadron will never make it back, regardless of the target you are using them against. Keep in mind that they are, in terms of survivability, they're pretty much tier 6 planes, so yeah, it's not amazing. So yeah, what do we have in front of us? Well, we actually have two enemy battleships, the Ruprecht and the Colombo. We're actually at the right place because we have two DDs in front as well. So they might actually trigger another flood, and those ships, they're actually pretty easy to set on fire as well. So we're going to stay here and we're going to observe what is going to happen. So that Shimakaze is shooting torpedoes at the Ruprecht. The Ruprecht gets flooded, and again we're just going to repeat the same thing as what we did with the Puerto Rico. I'm just going to send my dive bomber squadrons to that Ruprecht because it just damage come. So there you go. I'm sending them over, and it's almost gone. And unfortunately I do not pay attention, but yeah, you see, you really have to pay attention to your surroundings because I just sent my dive bomber squadrons and the Shimakaze had just sent torpedoes towards the enemy BB. So it gets deleted, but okay, no big deal. I'm not going to recall them, they're already in the air. The preparation time is actually pretty punishing there, so that's why I'm not sending them back. And I'm going to send them to the Colombo instead, and I cause a fire. So if one of my DDs manages to flood him, well, there you go. That's, yeah, maybe it will happen with that salvo, but yeah, no, I'm not sure. Unfortunately, yeah, no, it's not happening this time. So yeah, this is actually what I like about Delaware. It's a very active play style, it's a very active gameplay. It's not your typical battleship where you are shooting twice per minute or something like that, and you're kind of wondering what to do in the meantime. Yeah, no, this thing, you are always doing something. You are always watching where your shells are landing. If you have planes available, what the enemy team is doing. Yeah, you see, they're not reloaded yet. You're always doing something. It's a very, very interesting and active playstyle, and that's why I absolutely love that thing. So that black Colombo, it's not really dangerous to me. It's already pretty damaged, so I'm not really worried about it. And my guns are actually doing the business, so I'm kind of looking at the other side of the map if there is a target of opportunity there. Unfortunately, the Bazan deletes my cruiser, and that's not great because, yeah, there's not much competition. So I'm kind of looking here to see if the enemy DD floods the Colombo, but he does much better than that. He actually removes it from the game. So yeah, you always have to watch out for these things. The Shimakaze is going to assault a Yamato. That means that it's gonna get flooded, and I'm getting ready to be sending my planes on top of that. So there you go, the Shimakaze. Can you actually make it to the... Oh, Jesus, that's a YOLO. But the Yamato gets flooded, and that is all that matters. We are sending our squadrons right away towards the Yamato. And we have, with the Delaware, that's the main difference with the Nebraska. The fire chance is actually much higher because you now have two squadrons. There are 6 planes in total. So yeah, it's pretty guaranteed that we're going to at least set one fire on that Yamato, and sure enough, Squadron 1, nothing, Squadron 2, yeah, 2 fires. So that's how you deal your damage with that thing. The guns alone will not cut it. You really have to make your planes tries count, and we actually did manage something like, is it 5 or 6 fires already in that battle? Yeah, that's actually quite a lot. So yeah, time to debrief the Delaware. So yeah, you guessed it, I'm a big fan of that ship. I haven't sold it when I unlocked the Louisiana, and this is my go-to tier 9 battleship. Yeah, a lot of fun because you're very active, you're always doing something, you have to watch everything around you, and that's kind of why it's also not really beginner friendly, because if you make a positioning mistake, you get deleted. If you make a mistake with your planes, you lose them. You saw me doing that at the beginning of the battle with my fighter. So yeah, it's really not super easy to play. It's not your typical battleship. Yeah, it's not your typical American battleship, I would add. Free-to-play friendly, a little bit better than the tier 8, yeah, simply because you get a better accuracy out of the box, but still it's not a free-to-play friendly line, and yeah, you will see an improved performance if you have historical camos and APCS commanders, that's clear. Overall rating 4 out of 5, yeah, it's just a really cool ship to play. I've loved it a lot, and yeah, that was actually the first world record gameplay. I think it is the better one of the two. You will get the next, the current world record in the next video. I just think that this one was more appropriate to talk about planes management because you saw the different techniques that you can actually use to help your team or preserve your squadrons. So there you go, Delaware, it gets better at tier 9 for once. It's pretty unusual, but yeah, it is what it is. Next video, the world record, and then we will have a conversation about the Louisiana. So there you go, hope you've enjoyed that guide, stay safe, take care, that was DFA signing out, bye bye.